Remember this line from Tiwa Savage's song? Well, it turns out she was right. Throughout her career, Tiwa Savage seems to be so good at getting into controversial situations. From leaked sex tapes to getting all freaky with Wizkid, Tiwa Savage has a way of staying in the spotlight. But when she's not getting into trouble, she's actually a pretty good artist, so good that at one point, she was known as the queen of afrobeats. Now, if you're not familiar with Tiwa Savage's journey, you might be tempted to say she had it easy, but she didn't. In reality, she would face a lot of challenges en route to becoming a superstar. Born as the last of 4 children of a fairly wealthy family in Isaliku, she spent the most part of her early life in Nigeria, at least until she was 11. By then, she had moved to the UK with her family. In high school, Tiwa Savage wasn't much of a music person. In fact, it wasn't until she was 15 that she took up the interest in music. She started singing in the most unlikely way.
Then there was a guy I had a crush on, and he used to hang out with these girls, and they always used to sing these like SWV songs or whatever. So I went to my music teacher, and I was like, there was a school play, Sound of Music. So I was like, I want to audition, and he was like, oh, auditions are done. So I was like, no, I really think I can do it. So he gave me a song, told me to go back, practice, came back, and he looked at me, he was just like, you can actually sing.
So that was the first time.
That's where
You see, back then she had a crush, so she decided to audition for a school play just to impress him.
Yeah, and then I got the role as one of the children in Sound of Music, and that was it. Everyone was just like, "Whoa!" And they became my friends.
So the bullying the music became sort of a savior.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Then someone in my school was just like, "I know some agent, that's looking for backup singers." And I was like, really? And then I went to an audition, and the guy was blown away. He was just...
In the process of auditioning, she discovered that she might just be talented, and that's where everything changed. The school play made everyone see how talented she was, and soon she was landing roles as a backup singer for top British artists like George Michael. With how fast she was growing in music, it was only a matter of time before she broke into the main scene. But just then, something happened. If you're African, or at least been around enough Africans, you know how much they value education. For Tiwa, her parents wanted her to complete her education before pursuing a career in music. Now, while that may seem a bit too harsh, all they wanted was more security, such that even if her music career went downhill, she would still have something to do. So she went ahead to get an accounting degree from the University of Kent. This allowed her to secure a job with the Royal Bank of Scotland. Working 9 to 5 as a banker wasn't really Tiwa's style, and soon enough, she got bored. So bored that by 2006, she had started to seriously consider returning to her music career. First, she signed up for the X Factor and somehow managed to make it to the final 24. But then she could only make it as far as 12th. As disappointing as this loss was, it became the catalyst she needed to restart her music career. At her parents' insistence, she moved to the US to enroll in the Berklee College of Music in Boston. Despite her age being in the way, she didn't think much of it. Her passion for music was all that mattered. So when she finished her program, she decided to move to New York, where the big guns were. Her move to New York opened a lot of opportunities for her. And soon, she started singing backups for music legends like Chaka Khan and Whitney Houston. While Tiwa wasn't having a perfect start in her music career, her long music journey had helped her build experience, and now she was a pretty good singer and songwriter. Her under-the-radar career had even managed to attract the attention of 2 people. The first was Sony, who had been monitoring her work up until that point. They had recognized her talent and soon enough offered her a deal as a songwriter with them. This was mind-blowing on all levels for Tiwa. On one hand, more exposure. On the other hand, she could make some real money. She had also managed to attract the attention of T-Bills, a music talent scout in the US and someone who would play a major role in her life in the future. Anyway, T-Bills saw an untapped potential in Tiwa, something that would be just right for the newly emerging Afrobeat industry. Back then, Afrobeats wasn't fully established. It wasn't even global yet. Nigerian music had just started getting the recognition it deserved. The likes of P-Square and Don Jazzy had dominated charts and had now forced people to pay attention to African music. If there was ever a time to break into Afrobeats, it was now. T-Bills managed to sell the idea to Tiwa Savage, and she got on board. However, she was taking a big risk, leaving an environment she was accustomed to for a country she hadn't been to since she was what, 11? And if you add the fact that a lot of musicians who return home rarely do well, she started to understand the kind of risk she took. Either way, it was make or break time for Tiwa Savage. Her first song, titled Kele Kele Love, was electric. Tiwa has managed to deliver an absolute masterpiece in her first song despite having no prior experience with afrobeats. Pretty surprising, right? Well, it didn't stop there. Her next few songs were quite good. She was gradually becoming quite popular in the Nigerian music industry. Then, her big break came, this time in the form of another deal. Back then, former Mo Hits boss Don Jazzy was trying to put a new record label together, and Tiwa Savage was going to be part of the first set of artists signed to Mavin's. Although she was already fairly successful in music, the deal with Mavin's was a game changer for her. Suddenly, Tiwa Savage went from a good artist to a great artist. Don Jazzy's magic touch became evident in songs like Eminado and her first album titled Once Upon a Time. The first album was released mid-2013, featuring 7 singles including her 2 hit songs Eminado and Kele Kele Love. Because of how good the album was, she was nominated for 5 different categories at the 2014 Nigerian Entertainment Awards and the Headies. 2013 ended on an even better note for her when she announced her marriage to her manager, T-Bills. Her marriage would soon become the talk of the town, including their famous white wedding at the Armani Hotel in Dubai. Her marriage to T-Bills seemed like a perfect one, but soon cracks would start to appear. In the meantime, Tiwa Savage was the happiest she has ever been. She was no more just some under-radar artist. She had become one of the fastest rising artists in Nigeria. With her growing reputation in the music industry, she moved on to collaborations next. Her first collaboration was on Dorobuchi, the Mavin's track that completely took over the airwaves. If you weren't too young back then, you'd have an idea of what I'm talking about. The song was everywhere. It didn't even matter where you stayed in Nigeria. You're bound to have heard the song at least once. After featuring on Dorobuchi, she released the music video of her 2013 song Wanted, and let's just say it was the most sensual a Nigerian artist had ever gone at the time, which was her first mistake. Sure, the Nigerian music industry had grown past a lot of previous stereotypes, but it wasn't ready for that kind of content just yet. As you would expect, her music video came with a huge backlash across every social media platform Nigerians knew how to use. Although things eventually dialed down, Tiwa Savage would soon become known for controversy, and this was just the first. Back home, things were looking pretty good, at least for now. She had just given birth to her first son around July 2015, and things looked like it could only get better. But then, there was a storm coming. One thing would ultimately destroy her marriage. Anyway, as the year went on, she was featuring in many songs, including Patorankin's Gelio, and just when we thought things couldn't get any better, she announced the release of her second album, Red. When the album was eventually released in late 2015, it was fire. Anyone who listened to the album would sense that Don Jazzy touch instantly. Of course, this doesn't take away Tiwa's work on the album, but you know how Don Jazzy can turn a good song into a great one. Well, their collaboration worked perfectly. The album's standout single, My Darling, was literally everywhere. So it didn't come as a surprise when she got another Best Album nomination, this time at the 2016 Nigeria Entertainment Awards. But while she was getting a lot of success in her music, her marriage suffered. Her husband publicly accused her of sleeping around and even dragged her mother into the whole thing, calling her a witch. Seeing her husband go public with something like this, Tiwa Savage definitely wasn't happy. Although at first, she tried to work it out.
I have never cheated on my husband. Not with Don Jazzy, not with Dr. Sid, not with Two-Face, not with anybody. And I'm willing to take a lie detector test for that.
And it seemed like maybe things would get better, but it was far from over. In fact, the pair started having issues way before T-Bills went public. About 2 months before then, Tiwa Savage had moved out of the house and was now living alone with her son. Everything that happened just confirmed their separation and ultimately a divorce 2 years later. The entire saga affected Tiwa's career, but not in the way you'd think. It turns out that up until her marital issues, she was a darling to every Nigerian. People loved her. The tabloids wrote good stuff about her. and even bloggers who seemed to always have an issue with everyone weren't able to find any fault in her. And this wasn't because she was perfect or humble or anything. It was because she had done everything by the book. She had come to Nigeria as a young, talented artist, got married, had kids, managed to run a home and a successful career side by side. If there was such a thing as the Nigerian dream, this was it. Tiwa Savage was everyone's darling. But the minute there was some change, people turned against her. She was no more their darling, just some young divorced artist. Her marital issue may have made her unpopular among Nigerians, but outside Nigeria, she started to attract the attention of one of hip-hop's biggest artists. That artist was Jay-Z. And if you're getting any ideas, his interest was purely musical. He had become very impressed with her singing, so much that he invited her to perform in his Made in America festival. By July 2016, she signed a management and publishing deal under Jay-Z's Roc Nation. The plan was simple. She wanted to get as much international exposure as possible. And guess what? It worked. After Tiwa Savage's 2017 EP titled Sugarcane, which earned her yet another Album of the Year nomination, she headlined the concert at the O2 Arena. Now, if you're not really familiar with the term, it basically means she was the main act, the face of the concert, and guess what? The O2 Arena was sold out. To think this was in 2018, way before Nigerian artists started selling out in O2 Arena for fun, making it even more impressive. Technically, that makes her the first Nigerian artist to sell out at the O2 Arena in recent years. That same year, she won her first major award, the Best African Act at the 2018 MTV Europe Music Award, and even performed at a charity event in South Africa to celebrate Nelson Mandela's 100th birthday. Tiwa Savage had gotten more international exposure in just 2 years of signing with Jay-Z than she had done in her entire career, so maybe signing with an international collaboration wasn't so bad after all. But if there's something Tiwa Savage has shown us up until this point, it's her ability to generate controversy. Her next one started with Starboy himself. Back in 2018, Tiwa Savage was all over Wizkid. They were spotted publicly a couple of times and even seemed to have kissed on stage. But what really fueled speculations was that video. I bet a lot of you remember it. The video was filled with intimate and romantic scenes between the two that you could almost bet that they were dating or at least sleeping together. What made it even more believable was the fact that Tiwa Savage wasn't a part of the original song. She didn't even utter a word in the music video. She was basically a video vixen. It makes you wonder when video vixens started getting paid better than artists. Anyway, the rumors were everywhere. And although both claimed they were nothing more than close friends, there was no beating the allegations. It was apparent that there was something between them. While Tiwa's alleged relationship with Wizkid might have seemed interesting to some saw an issue with it, particularly with their age difference. The thing is, although they were both adults, she was 10 years older than him. Yes, 10 years. In Nigeria, it's not every day you see a woman getting into a relationship with a man she's 10 years older than. It was all about the stereotype. While the rumors continued, it didn't stop her from doing her thing. Her deal with Roc Nation was still in place. Although she was still a part of Mavin up until 2019, by then, she had signed a deal with Motown Records. It seemed like Tiwa was now fully focused on going global, which is normal for an artist of her caliber. She will be among the artists invited to collaborate with Beyonce on the Lion King album.
So to see that Afrobeat artists and Africa in general is just getting this attention right now, it's just like, you know, it's wonderful.
How did it feel when that phone rang to be on that Beyonce project for the Lion King?
Hello.
How did that feel? Walk us through that day. Do you remember?
Well, it wasn't a phone call, it was an email. And
Okay.
when my manager called and she was like, they're doing this project. I was like, yeah, no. So we literally ignored it for like a couple of days.
Wait, so you thought it was an email scam?
I mean, who gets an email to say Beyonce wants to put you on a project? Like, I'm just like, no, of course I'm not gonna fall for that. Like, and then for some reason, she delved into it, and then we started hearing whispers of other artists got the same email, and I was just like, yo, we need to call Motown to make sure this is real. And they called us back and they're like, yo, it's real. Literally, I was on the plane the next day to LA, 22 hours. I was like, I'm ready.
Now she was very popular both in Nigeria and internationally. Tiwa decided to lend her voice to an anti-rape movement. She launched the We Are Tired charity foundation, which focused on providing lawyers to rape victims. But she didn't just stop there. She made several posts that called out authorities to take rape more seriously, and also met with security operatives like the Lagos State Police Commissioner to help provide quick helplines for victims of rape. All her charity work kind of changed her public image, which had taken a hit since her divorce. Most of her time during the COVID-19 lockdown was focused on eradicating rape. Right after lockdown, she announced her third album titled Celia, set to release in August. When her album was released, it turned out to be a 13-track, most of which were collaborations with top international artists like Stefflon Don and Sam Smith. However, we still saw some of her singles like Dangerous Love and Kuruba with an already increasing international audience. Tiwa took things up a level by releasing what many termed an international album. And it's no coincidence she had released this album right after her first feature on Beyonce's Lion King album. She probably wanted to increase her international appeal. And well, it worked. Her new album ranked 10 on Times Magazine's list of 10 best albums of 2020, and her popularity increased internationally. But as she got even more popular, she started to make the news more often, more times for the wrong reasons. Barely a year after her album, she was involved in a messy fight with another female artist, Shay Shay. What started as a simple greeting soon evolved into an all-out war, as both artists hurled whatever insults and curses they could at each other. At first, it seemed like Tiwa Savage might have overreacted, but when you think of it, she probably never forgave Shay Shay for her 2017 diss track.
I'm not going to respond publicly. I don't want to disgrace you or embarrass you or me because we're grown. I don't think you guys can do what you do. I don't think you can do what you do.
I'm not going to listen to this. You've got your facts wrong, so that's up to you.
Listen, don't come to me and think you can say hi with the dirty and disgusting spirit that you have. The dirty, disgusting spirit that you have. You think I've forgotten how many years ago what you guys did, you and Victoria Kamani? You think I've forgotten? You think I can forget?
Tiwa, what are the things that you have done? Like what? You want me to open out everything here? I'm not like you. I'm not going to do that.
Open me.
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 Open what?
About a month after Tiwa's public outburst, she lost her father to illness. That period was a really difficult time for her, as she was really fond of her dad, but somehow she managed to pull through it. But just when things were starting to look good again, she got involved in another controversy. Some say that's her biggest ever.
Something happened, and this is just yesterday.
Oh no, okay.
Yeah, so something happened yesterday. I was leaving a radio station. I'm in my car, and I actually told my team. I said I was actually going to mention it. So I'm in my car, and one of my road managers sends me a message. He's like, "Yo, check your phone," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I check it, and there's a video, and I'm just like, "Whoa!" I'm like, "Where did you get this from?" And he's like, "I just got it like 20 minutes ago." And
This is somebody on your team?
yeah, this video was sent to him, and I'm not gonna call it a sex tape, but it's a tape of me and the person I'm dating right now.
Ay, ay, ay.
And it got out.
Has that ever happened before?
No.
No, I mean, has anybody ever sent you something of yourself?
No, this is the first
Like,
time.
have you seen this tape? Is this something
This
you
is
knew?
yeah, it's recent. So it was like I think last month or maybe like 2-3 weeks ago. So yeah.
Oh my
and
God,
then-
I'm so sorry.
I know.
So you're in the middle of like crisis right now. No, that's crisis. That's not a small thing, baby. Like for a woman to have, and you have a son, and you have a career, and you have a.
So
I mean, you seem very like calm and okay, but
yeah, because I like. So I said the first thing I got off the phone, and I sent it to my manager, and she was like, "Oh my God," and I'm like, "What are we gonna do?" So the person's asking for money now.
of course.
So
Is it the person you were dating?
No. And he's going crazy too. So I'm like, what are we going to do? And my manager's like, well, how much are they asking for? So I woke up and I was like, no, I'm not. Because I pay it now, and then 2 months down the line, you're going to come back again, and then 2 years. And then who knows, even if I do send you the money, you probably would release it anyway. Like the fact that...
Since Tiwa refused to pay up, the person went ahead to leak the video. What followed was criticism from everywhere. A lot of people questioned why she would allow someone to record her while in the act. or why the video showed only her face. Some even went as far as saying her partner may have been involved in the release of the sex tape. Others came in with very extreme takes, with some people bashing, slut-shaming, and even questioning whether she was a good mother. And although her fans defended her constantly, they were no match for the horde of people intent on bashing her. The leaked sex tapes seemed like the final straw for most people in a long list of Tiwa Savage's controversies. But somehow, she was able to flip the script and her career survived. She even managed to share her thoughts on the whole issue on a song titled Loaded featuring Ashake. Despite a turbulent 2021, Tiwa Savage's comeback since then was nothing short of admirable. She's released another EP titled Water and Gary, and has now almost entirely shifted her focus to her international audience, including doing a tour for her EP in the US and Canada. Her international success would later earn her a honorable doctorate from her alma mater, the University of Kent. Nowadays, she seemed to be moving towards acting. Using her EP as an inspiration, she was able to get Prime Video on board in a movie where she played Aisha, a US-based fashion designer who returned to her homeland to resolve her guilt. Tiwa has also seemed to have resolved her issues with her ex-husband, T-Bills, as the two have been spotted together recently, although it's still unclear if they have gotten back together or not.